Hi, Kelly. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. Happy to be here. Today is another episode of Let's Talk Real, and we are going to be talking all about closing costs. Oops, that's the wrong banner. Yeah, all about closing costs. I'm
That's right.
trying to
It's
find the
Monday.
banner. So there you go. That's the topic of the day. So, yeah, so we're going to try to explain to you guys everything that you can expect to see when you're buying a house, what costs you can expect, and to kind of chime into that. So, we're going to go over our myth of the day, which is the down payment is not covered by. Ooh, I think I wrote that wrong completely. Today is not working, but the down payment is not covered by your closing costs. So a lot of people think that the down payment is part of your closing costs, but closing costs is something completely separate, right, Kelly?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So a lot of people think that, but it's not. So your down payment would be a requirement of your loan type. So whatever the loan type you have will have a different down payment requirement. And then the closing costs would be in addition to that. And we're going to break it down what the closing costs are so you can understand what you expect there. Alrighty, so that's the myth of the day. Kenny, do you want to do the recap for last episode real quick for us?
Yep. So last week we talked about the 10 steps when it comes to purchasing a home. I'm not going to go over all 10 steps, but to start is to check on yourself, your credit and whatnot. The next is main one, most important, is getting your pre-approval.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
once you have your pre-approval, you choose your realtor, which you can give the pre-approval to the realtor, and then they help you find the home of your dreams. But again, the biggest piece of it is being pre-approved and having that pre-approval in hand so that you're ready to buy the house, pick the house that you want, and purchase it. So
That's
that's
right. If you don't remember anything we talked about, all the 10 steps, just remember get yourself a pre approval first, and you can work with Kelly to get that ready for you. And then if you're not ready, she's going to let you know, pretty much some guidance of what you can do to get there. So it's really huge and important that you do that step first. So thank you, Kelly. So I wanted to do an announcement first. We have a giveaway happening for the Ismael Misiano team. And the information about the giveaway is on a post that I put the link here on this live. So if you want to learn how to participate, just click on the post and you will see how you can gain entries to be posted into the giveaway. So the giveaway is going to be happening. You can go up until the 23rd, and then on Christmas Eve, I will be revealing all the winners for all the prizes, and we have multiple prizes. So make sure you get to participate. Okay, so let's get into our topic. And so we have four types of charges for closing costs, right, Kelly? So Kelly,
correct.
can break it down for us so we can kind of understand what each type of charge is and what are they and what they are applied for. So take it away.
Okay. So that, like Nini said, there are four. So the first type are origination charges. Origination charges are charges that the lender has. And I'll use Sierra Pacific's example. We charge three lender charges. We have our administration fee, we have a processing fee, and then we also have loan discount fees. So administration and processing, we have our back office and they need to get paid too. So those charges are for them. And we have a great team. Anybody who has done a loan with us knows that most of our loans go through pretty smoothly and quickly because we have a great back office team. But
I
again,
definitely can vouch for that.
they need to get paid too. So that's part of our closing costs. And every lender's origination charges are different. Some charge printing fee, there's so many different fees that can be a part of that. But for example, those are ours. The other piece of it are loan discount fees, which are associated with your interest rate. What a lot of people don't understand is that interest rates are on a fee schedule. When I quote rates, I always quote as close to 0 points as I possibly can get, but it's on a scale. So the higher the interest rate your loan is, the more money you could possibly get back with loan discount fees, or the lower your interest rate, the more loan discount fees you pay. So you can actually get a higher interest rate and get money from the lender versus getting a lower interest rate and having to pay the lender to get that interest rate. So there's always, it's like a scale that the interest rates are on. Most people don't take the higher rate and get money back. It all depends on, the market. Right now, people aren't really going too much higher.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to take a higher rate in that case.
In this market. So that pretty much covers origination charges. Again, they're the lender charges.
Yeah, and just to kind of chime in that, I'm glad you pointed it out, because a lot of people don't know that, let's say the interest rates were not as high as now, and you have a great score, but maybe you are cash short. You can choose, like she said, to pick a higher rate and then get credit back from the lender to cover your own closing costs. So that is one of the ways you can facilitate paying your closing costs and reducing the amount of out of pocket you would have. Not as necessarily applicable to today's market because the interest rates are slightly higher now, so nobody would want to go even higher than that. But if the market ever calms down again and you find yourself needing that kind of option, that is available to you.
Yep. If you're in, and obviously, we would take a look at that. And if you're in a pinch and you need a couple extra dollars to go towards closing, we can, increase your interest rate and you can get a little bit money back to cover that. So I have done that for people because, buying a home is going to be one of the biggest purchases you make. And, just to make sure you got that cash, we can give you that money back.
Exactly. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yep. And then the next piece are your third-party charges. Third-party charges are things like your appraisal fee, your credit report fee, your flood cert fee, a re-inspection fee, which happens if some work maybe needs to be done on the house prior to settlement. And then we have the appraiser come back out just to make sure the work was done. That's a re-inspection fee. Mm-hmm. And your real estate broker transaction fee, that's another one. So these are fees that are outside the lender fees. So that's why we call them third-party charges.
Yeah.
In most cases, when you get a home under contract, and I know with Sierra, the only fee we collect up front is the appraisal fee, because the appraiser must get paid right away. So when we order the appraisal, that's when they get paid. So that's why we collect it up front. A lot of lenders are the same way, but again, it's a third party. So we actually have a vendor that we use that reaches out to schedule the appraisal.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that too. So a lot of people don't know this. When they are under contract, there are probably only 2-3 things that you're going to have to pay ahead of time before your settlement day, which it would be your deposit, of course, that is given within usually 5 days of on offer acceptance. Then you have your inspections, if you're doing any, which would be paid directly to the inspector. And you have your appraisal fee, which it is paid to the lender, but the lender uses to pay the appraiser. So those are the only 3 fees usually that we see that you could expect to have to pay prior settlement.
Correct. So that pretty much covers our third-party costs.
Okay.
The third set of costs are your title and settlement charges, which I'm not going to go into too much detail because we're going to have our good friend Leslie on next week to go over details about the settlement charges, because these are the charges that the title company applies to the loan.
Yes.
But some examples of them are your closing protection letter, your Alta policy, which is your title insurance, your title endorsement fee, deed transfer tax,
Mhm.
recording fees, and another one is your state deed transfer tax. So
Yeah.
when you purchase a home, there is a 1% transfer tax that you pay and your seller pays. So half
Yeah.
of it is your state deed transfer tax, and the other one is your city deed transfer tax. But
Yes.
you add them up, and it's 1% of your loan. So these are all charges that the title company charges. And again, every title company is different,
Yeah.
and they all charge they charge mostly the same fee types, but
Mhm.
their charges are usually a little different. And some title companies charge a little more than others. It,
Yes.
it all depends on
Who
their
you're working
overhead
with.
and how they do business, because everybody's different.
Correct.
Um,
The only charge that you can expect, well, the only two charges you can always expect to be exactly the same is the transfer tax, because it's always going to be 1% of the purchase price. And
mhm,
then the title insurance is actually determined by the state, and it's based on the purchase price amount. So
correct.
that's like there is actually a schedule of fees that are attached to a purchase amount exactly. So if the purchase price is from 200 to 205, there is a title insurance fee there, and that goes to the state. Technically doesn't go to the title company, but the title company is the one that orders it. So that is a set fee by the state. So those two fees are always going to be the same because they're not determined by the title company. But the other fees, yes, they're basically the same as far as what fees they are, but they can change in value based on who you're working with.
Yep. And the only other thing I want to say about the settlement charges are when you refinance versus doing a purchase, you will still have settlement charges because they will still need to do the title search to make sure there's no liens on the property. So you will pay title insurance again, but you will not pay a transfer tax. So that is
Mhm.
one less fee that you would have to
Exactly.
pay. And so again, you will still have to do all that stuff. That is something not a lot of people, they think they can refinance and not have to pay those things, but
They don't usually realize that when you're financed, you're basically repurchasing the property in a way. So you
correct,
do have fees. It's just that you don't pay out of pocket because they're usually built into your new financing amount.
correct, correct. So again, those are the basics with your title and settlement charges, and I'm going to have Leslie go over all that for next week.
And just to
Um,
clarify, Leslie is our good friend and partner. She is the owner of Benchara Abstract Inc. out of Lancaster. So we're going to have her as a guest speaker here with us next week to talk all about title. So you really understand what that's all about, what they do in order for you to, before you take, ownership of a property, the things that they do to clear the property, make sure everything is in order so you can take, title of that property.
yes, it's very important.
Very important stuff. Yeah.
Um, so our last and our final piece of closing costs are your prepaids and escrow.
Yeah.
So there are a couple different things that go into your prepaids and escrow. You have your taxes.
Yeah.
So this is something that the title company, they'll do a search on the property to see what your county and state taxes are, as well as your school taxes.
Correct.
Um, and when you purchase a home, we collect a year up front. That way they put that money into your escrow, and then you also pay it as part of your payment. So that money continues to go in your escrow. Depending on the time of year, the taxes might be due. So if they are, then we take care of it at settlement, but you pay that money up front. So that money is there for when the taxes are ready to be paid. And as the lender, if you're escrowing, if you choose to escrow, we pay the taxes for you. You don't have to worry about sending in the stuff for them. A lot of people still reach out to me. It's totally fine. You can send me
Mhm.
your tax bill if you get it, and I send it into my servicing. Pretty much every time somebody has sent me their taxes and I've sent it to servicing, servicing has come back and told me that it was already taken care of. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so everybody knows that it does get paid.
Yes. And that's just to kind of even break it down further, because I know a lot of people are very confused with the whole tax thing. So every property has a different tax amount, right? It's based on the property itself. The township and the county will go and give an assessment value of that property, and based on that assessment value, we'll have real estate taxes for that property. So real estate taxes, that's another like thing that people don't understand, is that when you buy a house, from the day you're purchasing it to the end of that calendar year, or whatever the tax is, the calendar tax amount is, you are going to be prepaying for the remainder of the year. And then that's going to go into your closing costs. What also happens is that remainder of the year is being reimbursed to the seller, because the seller prepaid for the full year. So when you buy a home, I have a lot of clients of mine ask me, like, why is there seller reimbursements? Why am I paying the seller reimbursements? And that's because you are returning the amount that the seller already paid from the day you're taking ownership of the property into that remainder of that year. So that's a part of your closing costs together with your escrow. And just to clarify, escrow is basically an account that is created on your behalf by the lender, where they put funds so they can use those funds to prepay your taxes, your homeowner's insurance, or if you have any other fees that would have to go in there. But usually it's just taxes and homeowner's insurance that stays in there. And then the lender will take money out of that escrow account to pay for your taxes for you on your behalf. You still get a bill on the mail. Another thing that people get freaked out, and that's probably why Kelly receives people saying, "Hey, can you check on my taxes?" But you still have to get it by law. You have to receive a physical bill, but that doesn't mean that you have to pay it. You'll be paid through your mortgage if you have a mortgage. You'll be paid through your mortgage. So that's a few things to kind of clarify and for you guys to know. A lot of people just don't understand how that works. So
yeah. And when you purchase a home and we set up that escrow for you, our company knows what the escrow is because we settled the loan. So they know who to reach out to see what's due on it. So that's, a lot of people are like, well, how do they know? Well, they know because when we settled the loan, we got the title work, and they know what township and who to reach out to get that information.
Exactly. And they have everything pre-calculated and estimated. So they are taking enough out of your monthly payments, and then, having enough when the taxes are due to pay everything off at once. One thing that is also maybe good to point out, right, is that taxes, they do go up, not every year, depending on the location you're in. It could be every year, every 2 years, every 5 years, but they do go up. So you can expect that your mortgage payments will also go up because the taxes will go up. Same thing with your homeowner's insurance. They may inflate the insurance amount for the yearly rate. So your monthly payments may go up slightly. So your principal and interest that you did with your lender for the 30-year term never changes. But the taxes and homeowners insurance, they can, because that's like a third-party service. So, the insurance is a third-party service. The taxes is the state. So the taxes go up and the third-party service insurance goes up. You will inflate your mortgage payments. Your mortgage payments could go up slightly because of that. So just keep that in mind. Your monthly payments is not set forever, not because of the lending side, but because of the taxes and home insurance.
Correct. And we do an escrow analysis once a year that you should expect that. Usually, I believe they do it towards the end of the year. So definitely something to hang on to. If you feel like there's a discrepancy in your taxes, you want to pull that and you want to call our loan servicing to figure that out. But yeah, you should definitely receive an analysis. The escrow analysis goes through all of your escrow, and if you have any questions, that's the document you want to take a look at.
Yeah.
So with that being said, one of the other escrow things we do is your homeowner's insurance. Everybody has to get a homeowner's insurance when you purchase a home. We currently work with Bill Brennan from Goosehead Insurance. He is our go-to guy. We should have him on to talk about homeowners sometime.
We should.
And I always tell people, if you don't love Bill by the time you get off of the phone with them, then I'm not doing my job. But Bill's great. He'll get you what you need. He will, be able to give you, because he's a broker, he works with a lot of different companies. So he can, work with you on your car insurance and, bundle your car and your homeowners. Sometimes he may not always be able to save on homeowners, but he can usually save on car. He can usually save on one of those, sometimes both, but
exactly. And that's cool that you mentioned. So he doesn't work for just one company. He can shop around for you on your behalf and find you the better deal. So it doesn't matter if it's Progressive, Farmers, Smart, whatever, all the insurances out there. He shop around for you and get the best option. So
Yep. And another thing that he can get and that needs to be escrowed is flood insurance. So we do a flood cert to make sure you're not in a flood zone. But if you are, that would also be something that he, either Bill or whomever you're getting your homeowners through, we'd be able to get the homeowners or the flood insurance. With flood insurance, a little different. That has to be paid when you get it. So it's not paid at settlement. You actually have to pay that ahead of time.
correct.
So that's a lot of things that that's one thing a lot of people don't know. And if I know it's in a flood zone, I try to remember to tell them that you need to get flood insurance, but that is something you'll pay the full year to whomever you're getting the flood policy through. And unfortunately, flood is not cheap. But again,
it depends on the type of flood zoning area that the property is in.
That is true.
And the type of financing you are using. One thing that is good to point it out, right, is that if you are purchasing with a government-backed loan, so FHA, VA, they may require you to purchase the flood insurance through FEMA. And they tend to be more expensive because they are, government led. So they tends to be a little pricier. But if you are not using a government funded or government backed loan, you're using a conventional loan, for example, then you can go to a private flood insurance company, right? Or insurance company that provides private flood insurance. And those tend to be more reasonable, but they're still pricey nonetheless. But you may be able to get a better deal when you're not using a government-backed loan.
Yes. So the other fee that I've in here, which actually, I don't know that you have to escrow for this, but I think you can, is a homeowners association fee.
Yeah, I think it depends on the homeowners association for that one because they vary. They're privately held. So some of them will allow you to do the payments through the mortgage company, and some of them just will set up a direct deposit directly with the owner. So I guess that one depends on the association.
Yeah. Yes, because they're all different.
Correct.
Yeah, because the example that I pulled up, I don't have an HOA in there, but I've seen it on prepaids, but not on every loan. It all depends, like Nini said, all depends on the homeowners association, whether or not it goes into the escrow. And one other fee that actually is part of escrow is your prepaid interest. So depending on the time of the month, you have to pay. So if you're closing on the 15th of the month, we usually collect a month and a half. So your first payment actually isn't due until not the next month, but the following month. And when you refinance, you actually don't pay it for about 3 months. So it's different from a purchase and a refinance. But that paid interest would be if you close on the 15th, you're going to pay 15 or 16 days of prepaid interest on that for that month. So that is part of it's usually listed in your escrow piece of your loan estimate.
Yeah.
And so that pretty much covers all of your closing costs. Anything you can think of that you could add to any of those 4 pieces?
No, I think that I'm glad you mentioned that because that's another thing that people don't know. Like when you buy a house, people are like, "Oh my gosh, I have to make a payment for my house," right after I close or something like that. But no, like,
Right.
let's say you're closing the 1st of October. Your first mortgage payment will not be due until October, November, December 1st.
Correct.
So it always skips a month. So it could potentially be 2 months after, or if you close at the very last day of the month, technically it would be just about a month after.
Yeah.
But it always skips the next month over to the following. And then one other thing is usually due on the 1st of the month, but you do have 15 days to make that payment,
Correct.
and not is 15 or 14?
15.
15. So it's
Yep.
15 days to make that payment and not have a penalty fee. So
But
technically,
don't wait until the 15th
don't
day.
wait, yeah, because it takes time to process too. So you don't want to find yourself in a bubble. So I would say like the 14th, 13th is your debt cut off, right? Just to be on the safe side. But if you are a person that maybe gets paid every 2 weeks or something like that, and or maybe even once a month, and you're not able to make it on the first, the payment,
Mhm.
you can have the flexibility of doing the payment in the first 2 weeks of that month and not have a penalty. So that's something that a lot of people don't even know. And so you do have a month and a half, 2 months giveaway before you have to make your first payment on that mortgage.
Yep. And just one other thing I want to point out to everybody is when you get a fee estimate,
Mm-hmm.
you just always have to keep in mind that it's an estimate. Not
Correct.
all of these numbers are going to be exact when I would happen to do a fee estimate for somebody. I can get pretty close on taxes because you can find that, you can usually find the taxes on a property
The closing records. Yeah.
online. Homeowners insurance, I'm not always going to know. Bill can give us estimates, but he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have an exact number until he actually speaks with you. And obviously, prepaid interest, I always put 15 days on my loan estimates, but that number could be more or less, give or take.
Right.
So again, these are fee estimates. It's not set in stone until you get to closing. And we
Yes.
have your final closing disclosure.
Yeah, and that usually like that we only have an actual settled final number just 2 or 3 days before the settlement date.
Correct.
So all up until that point, an estimate. Of course, it's a pretty close to accurate
Mhm.
estimate, but it's still an estimate nonetheless. Now we did explain all the fees and what they were and where they go to, what they applied for, but just to give people an idea of what percentage or what amounts they can expect. I would say in Pennsylvania, the average amount that we're looking at is for the nation for the entire state of Pennsylvania is $9,500 with
Mhm.
taxes.
Yep.
But to be on the safe side, you can expect 3 to 6% of that purchase amount as your closing costs, not including the down payment, just the closing costs. So let's say we're talking on a $200,000 home, you could expect $6,000 to $12,000 to be your closing costs plus
Mhm.
the down payment that is required for your mortgage type, for your loan type. So in an FHA, you would have to add 3.5% down payment to that 3 to 6% closing costs. On a VA, you don't have it, so you would only have closing costs, so 3 to 6%, and so on and so on. So just to give you guys some clarity on, what to plan for. And one thing that we didn't bring it up during the conversation, but is um, the closing costs happen on both sides. So the buyers and the sellers both have closing costs of their own. But on the buying side, on the buyer's closing costs, we are able to negotiate seller's assistance or seller's help that we call it. In Pennsylvania, we are allowed to negotiate up to 6%. So that 3 to 6% closing cost that we're talking technically can be fully covered by the seller if we are able to negotiate that during the transaction, right? During the negotiation piece. So up to 6% of seller's assistance in Pennsylvania is allowed for negotiation. So you could be, going into buying a home, going to closing or settlement day, really only having to pay your required down payments unless you were a VA or USDA and have no down payments, you could be going to the table. nothing out of pocket other than the deposit that you paid. So just, things to keep in mind. I know it seems like a lot, but it could potentially be nothing. And we talked about grants, right? So
Yep.
another thing that will always go towards the closing costs. So just to kind of tie everything back in.
Yep. Yep. So when you purchase a home, you need your down payment, but you also have to keep in mind you're going to have the several $1,000s of closing costs as well. So a lot of people don't take that into account. And, like Nini said, we can get seller assist to help with that because we are getting back into a market where we're getting seller assist. And as a lender, I can always, work with the numbers to, make sure the seller's still getting what they want, but then you can also get some seller assist in there too. But yeah, we can definitely something to keep in mind.
Awesome. And then talking about the market, I just wanted to give you guys a little market update since last week it wasn't available yet. This week I had the entire month of November available. So let's go over this real quick. For Dauphin County, um, right now we have about 355 houses available for sale, while last year at this same time we only had 285 homes. So that's a
Wow.
20% increase in inventory availability this time of the year, which is pretty good to see. And you're going to see that it's being consistent with all the counties as I go through it. But we are seeing an awesome increase in inventory. So the inventory accumulation is 1.2 months for Dauphin County. The average sold price for Dauphin is $252,116. We had 292 new listings coming into the market in November and 285 when pending. So that kind of shows that 1.2 months availability. But the increasing inventory is definitely what we want to be looking at because that ties into what we just said, where you have more homes, less buyers, and then so there's less competition, and you can get yourself a potentially the ability to negotiate seller's assistance. For Cumberland County, current inventory is 358. Last year we had 243. So that one is a big increase. We had 33% increase in inventory for the month of December. Current inventory is 1.2 months as well. Average sold price for Cumberland County is $340,291. We had 265 new listings, and from those, 225 went pending. York County current inventory is 695 houses.
Wow.
Really a very busy market, yes. But like last year, we had 502. That's a 38% increase from year to year. Current inventory accumulation is 1.5, so we do have a little bit more availability in York County. The average sold price is $269,463. We had 483 new listings in December and 376 went pending. So again, showing that 1.5 there. And then Lancaster County, current monthly inventory is 475 houses. And last year we only had 294. So we have over.
How many was it?
So 475 this
And
month, and last year was 294.
oh wow.
That's a 61.5 increase in inventory. So yeah, Lancaster was crazy last year. That was like there was no houses in the market. And now we have more than double of homes available. So Lancaster might be a great county to do some great negotiations. That's for sure. The current inventory accumulations is still 1.2 because it's revolving pretty well. The average sold price is $331,660. We had 388 new listings coming into the market, and then 311 went pending. So that's what I have for our little market update. And do you have anything to add, Kelly, to that or anything else?
No, I don't. Those numbers are A little
Pretty good.
surprising to me.
Yeah, right? Especially for Lancaster, like that's a 61% increase in inventory.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen a couple more homes for sale in my neighborhood, but
Yeah,
I was surprised that there's that many.
I know. So that's good. If you're looking for a house in Lancaster, there you go. There's definitely inventory availability. So that's all I have for today. If you guys have any additional questions to me or to Kelly, please just follow up with our information here below. You can touch base with us via phone, email, or even message us if you are on social media. So,
And the giveaway. Don't forget about the giveaway.
yeah, don't forget the giveaway. The post is here on the video below the caption, and if you click on it, you can see how you can enter. There's some pretty awesome prizes out there, so just you can enter up into the 23rd, and the giveaway is going to be revealed on Christmas Eve. So that's it. Thank you, Kelly. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.